There are two kinds of dreams, the ones you wake from in the morning and the ones you wake from while still awake. The latter is more disorienting. One moment you're sitting at a table with everyone else, laughing at the same jokes, nodding at the same opinions. The next moment, something shifts. The light hits the room differently. The laughter sounds hollow. The conversation feels scripted. You look around and feel like you are watching a play you no longer believe in. It's as if you suddenly see the strings in a puppet show you once thought was real. This awakening is mystical and eerie. It feels like stepping out of a cinema mid-movie and realizing there's a world outside the story you've been living. You ask yourself, have I been asleep this whole time? Awareness is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it frees you from blind obedience. You begin to see patterns that others miss. You notice the subtle manipulations in media, the social conditioning in traditions, the unspoken agreements that keep people in line. You see the puppet masters behind the scenes. On the other hand, seeing deeply isolates you. When everyone else is content to stay in Plato's cave, watching shadows dance on the wall, the person who steps out into the sunlight is seen as mad upon return. You try to share what you've seen, and people look at you with pity or hostility. They accuse you of overthinking, of being negative, of ruining the fun. Awareness makes you a stranger in familiar places. You can't force yourself to unsee. You can only choose whether to speak or stay silent. The loneliness of sight is real. There's a particular ache that comes from seeing the toxic dynamics in your family that everyone else calls normal. There's a particular fatigue that comes from reading between lines that others take at face value. There's a particular grief that comes from watching people you love cling to beliefs that harm them. You might attend a party and suddenly feel like the only sober person in a room full of drunks. Everyone is dancing, spilling drinks, laughing. You're the only one noticing the dangerous spill on the floor. You try to warn them, and they laugh it off. You're called a buzzkill. You learn to keep your observations to yourself to preserve harmony. But suppression eats you alive. You wonder if ignorance truly is bliss. You miss the ease you had before you knew. Clarity is a burden because it requires responsibility. Once you see the system, you must decide whether to continue supporting it. Once you realize the cost of convenience, you must decide whether to pay it. Once you recognize the propaganda, you must decide whether to repeat it. Truth compels action, but action can be dangerous. People fear those who destabilize their worldview. They will defend their comfort at all costs. They might ridicule you, ostracize you, or accuse you of being arrogant. They will insist that the shadows are reality because reality is too blinding. Carrying the weight of what you know without letting it crush you is an art. It requires strength to stand in the light when it exposes everything you thought was beautiful but was actually broken. History is filled with prophets no one listened to. Cassandra warned the Trojans about the horse and was laughed at. Galileo was ridiculed for saying the earth moves around the sun. Truth-tellers are often dismissed until their words become undeniable. It is tempting to shout louder, to shake people awake, but shouting often causes people to dig their heels deeper into denial. They interpret your warnings as attacks. They take your caution as negativity. They accuse you of being paranoid. In a world addicted to comfort, anyone who points out discomfort becomes the enemy. You must learn the difference between sharing insight and imposing it. Wisdom is knowing when your words will plant seeds and when they will be wasted on rocky soil. There is solace in finding others who see. When you connect with people who have also stepped outside the cave, there is a kinship that transcends words. You don't need to explain the dissonance you feel in mainstream conversations because they feel it too. You can sit together in silence and let it be a conversation. But even within communities of truth seekers, there can be hierarchy, ego, and illusion. Awareness does not make anyone immune to human flaws. It's easy to trade one dogma for another, one echo chamber for another. Keep your discernment sharp. Don't worship teachers who claim to see it all. They are human. Trust your inner compass. Let connection be a refuge, not a replacement for your own insight. The deeper you see, the more you feel. Empathy intensifies. You sense the hurt behind someone's anger, the insecurity behind their arrogance, the fear behind their cruelty. You feel the heaviness of collective trauma, the sadness of a planet exploited. This sensitivity can feel like drowning. You absorb energy like a sponge and then wonder why you feel so tired. Seeing the root causes of suffering doesn't automatically give you the power to fix them. It can make you feel helpless. But remember, feeling deeply is not weakness, it's compassion. The world has enough people who look away. Your heart breaking is not a flaw, it's evidence that you haven't numbed yourself to humanity. Use that sensitivity as a compass. Let it guide you to where you can be of use. The impulse to wake everyone up can be strong. You want to shake your partner and say, "Don't you see how destructive this is?" You want to email your entire family about the lies you've discovered. You want to confront your boss about the unethical practices. Sometimes you must speak up. Silence in the face of harm can be complicity. But other times, your message will fall on ears that are not ready. Change cannot be forced. Your role is not to drag people into consciousness, but to hold the door open and keep the light on. You lead by example. You embody what you've learned. You model integrity, and let your life be your argument. The danger of seeing what others don't is believing you must save them. You are not the savior, you are a seer. There is beauty in sight too. Seeing the interconnectedness of life makes each interaction sacred. You notice synchronicities that feel like cosmic winks. You witness the resilience of people who have been through unimaginable pain and still choose love. You marvel at the way nature heals itself when given the chance. Awareness expands your capacity for wonder. It deepens your gratitude. It makes ordinary moments extraordinary. Yes, you see the shadows, but you also see the light shining through cracks. You realize that complexity doesn't negate beauty. It enhances it. The world becomes richer when you stop accepting surface explanations. You can appreciate the tapestry with all its dark threads because you understand how they create contrast for the gold. In the end, the danger of seeing what others don't is not that you will go insane. It's that you will let the loneliness harden you. Keep your eyes open and your heart soft. Let your awareness guide your actions without turning you into a martyr. It is not your job to wake the blind, only to be awake yourself. Trust that everyone has their own timing, their own path. Share your vision when it's invited. Protect it when it's mocked. Find your tribe, but do not depend on them for validation. Learn when to speak and when to be silent. Seeing deeply is a gift that comes with responsibility. Use it to light your way, not to scorch others. Carry the burden with grace. And remember, the light you have found is not meant to blind the sleeping. It's meant to illuminate your own steps.